Hello everybody and welcome to this tutorial how to model this watch in Shapr3D. This is a very interesting object to model because it has a nice mix of fairly simple geometry, like the cylindrical parts on the inside, to more complex geometry like the frame that is outside. And there are some very simple but effective sketching and direct modeling strategies you can use to get exactly to this shape pretty easily. Okay, so let's go to our demo file. Here I have top and two side images, and what I will do first is I will select each image and move them a little bit away from the center. So if I go to the correct view, I can still see them, but I do not work on the plane of these images. So you see now if I tap the top view, I can see the image, but if I rotate, you see the grid is way above the image on the bottom. Okay, good. So with this setup, it's always nice psychologically to start working on the easiest part. So let's go to the front view. I can zoom in a little bit. And I would like to model the frame I have here. So there is a line somewhere here, a line goes down, a line goes up, and then it goes in a little bit, down and back to the left. When I zoom in now, you see the grid gets finer. This helps me to position everything more closely, matching the design. Very good. I can also hide these images if I want. Be more specific. Try to verify what's the angle, 135. That is good, which means that this angle is 135.2. This line is 5.1. Bring this down. I would like this to be only 5. Very good. To be specific here, I move this around and re-snap it. Very nice. This line I would like to be only vertical, only horizontal, vertical, horizontal. Very good. Because these two lines are vertical, horizontal, I don't need to make them perpendicular. They're this way by nature. I can select 2 points here, and instead of a distance, tap on the numeric value, go to there and say 1. And you see it gives me horizontally that distance. If I go to there, tap it and say 1, it gives me the vertical distance. Pretty cool. Maybe this line should never, or this point should never move, so I can lock it. Now I can still move this around, and you see the rest of the sketch then updates. I can move this a little bit as I want. And the more constraints you add, the more you start locking down your sketch. Very good. Okay, so this is kind of like the part of the frame, but I would like to have a revolve object. So I need to draw myself also an axis line there. If I now rotate my view with the pencil, select the fill, go to more, select revolve, then the UI on top tells you to select an axis. That is just that line I created. Click done. There we are. Very good. Okay, let's turn on our images again. There we are. Nice and good. Let's say we would like to build the glass part. So I can continue with the sketch. Simply draw a horizontal line till it meets the line on the right. Draw a line up, draw a line horizontally over, horizontal, vertical, horizontal. Actually here, this one we delete. We just do this. It's kind of like for the battery. Insert, go over, horizontal. Here, this line I lock. I don't want this to move anymore. And now I can go ahead and start giving everything dimensions as I did before. You see how the line on the left actually changes a little bit, which is not really what I want. Very good. So I give this a dimension there. Very good. So now when I move this, all this adjusts a little bit. It's also because here this does not have a dimension. So I can actually lock the movement by adding dimensions, or I can also lock by selecting a point and locking it. And now you see that doesn't do anything anymore. Okay. U and U should be 135. Very good. There. And what is the height? We can specify this to 9 millimeters. Nice. Okay. Now we do one more rotation, and we do the same. Now we select this fill, go to more and revolve, select this axis again. Then we can show both objects, and there we have now the inside part and the bottom part, and then the frame and the outside. It also really helps when we give things logical names. There, very good. And this is our site profile. I don't write profile because it's a sketch. Logically, in sketches we have profiles. Very good. No? I also very often, you see, I built this, and each time I hit these parts, I do this a lot because it's simply, it's easier to see what I'm working on, and in addition, I do not by accident join or do other automatic Boolean operations. Okay, so next part, that one is finished. Let's take a look at the frame here. There. So you can see we have kind of like an inner arc, then also an outer arc. We have left and right, these hooks, plus cavities. And you see also from the front that the bottom part is slightly arced. So how do we build this? It's actually, again, pretty fairly simple. So we will start actually in this view. We're on top. And I know that I have here a line. I also have here a line. And then there is an arc in between. And where I just drew here this point, that is my arc center. Okay, so I can try to draw an arc. There we are. And then this arc, I would like to go to there, lock. Select these two, move them back, and there we are. You see? Very easy. Let's zoom in a little bit more for better grid snapping. I also would like the top and the bottom to be really perfectly symmetrical. So I can draw a line. I actually, as you saw, I was drawing or selecting that other sketch, so I'm hiding this for the moment. So now I can draw a line here and a line there. And this line and this line should be symmetrical to this one. So you see, top and bottom adjust the same way. And we'll do the same line, line. Also here again an arc. Bring this over. These points bring back. Check this out. U and U be symmetrical now to the other line. You see how this actually moved it up. And then this line and this line should be symmetrical to this line. Very good. Okay, obviously all these lines should only be horizontal. So there we are. Very good. And when I move this point in, the other point moved in. Very nice. Pretty good. Okay. There we are. We could specify everything via more dimensions, etc. I'm going to skip this part since primarily here we will work on the basis of creating the sketches simply by eyeballing the image. Okay, I have a big arc up here and another arc down there and another arc there. Okay. U and U, they should be tangent. Same here. This and this should be tangent. Now this point again will go to there. This then allows me to move this up to there. Okay, very good. And this I will bring to there for the moment. I'm just positioning everything roughly to where I want them to be. So here now, to do this best, I will draw a line. I make this 2 millimeters and give this 89, 80, 88, 88 degrees. Okay. I will hide these images here for a moment, and then I will do the same here. Draw a line. This line should be 2 millimeters. We said this was 88. There we are, and I think a little bit these here moved just a notch, so I'll bring this back up, bring this back over, maybe a little bit more down. Very good. Because I'm not working with dimensions, the sketches are updating a little bit. That's fine. Okay, so these lines here we don't want to move, so I'm selecting all this and say lock. Done. Which means this point can't move anymore. Pretty cool. Okay, so this point and this point are not at the same level. What's an easy way? Just draw a line, make this line horizontal. There we are. Easy. Okay. And these arcs at these ends here, right there at the stot, they go up way too much. That's not what I like. So I will do the following. I will draw here a line, make the line horizontal, and then the line and this arc I make tangent. And you see how this moved actually this arc up. So I will do the same. Draw a line to there. This line has to be horizontal because this line is at an angle, and then line and arc tangent. Very good. Let's bring back our image. There we are. selecting these 2 points, or I can actually also select this line. No, I cannot. Okay, there. Move this up. There we are. Okay, very good. Nice. You see, this is actually, I don't want to say a fairly complex sketch, but the sketch has a lot of work in it. So our next step would be, we need a circle. That circle goes to there. And then this we expand a little bit to there. This would, technically speaking, sit inside our outer frame, and which is fine because we will fuse this together. So that's the reason why I'm overlapping this. I can do myself the favor, and instead of modeling all this again, I simply go to transform and mirror. Then I select these lines. Very good. Click next. Zoom in here and select this line. Click done. Oh, it did not. Okay. Maybe because I had so many constraints in there. Let's do this. Make a copy. Move this to there. Select this too. Okay. Now this is a symmetrical object. I only need to rotate this. Transform failed. Okay. Okay, good. Maybe I was mistaken. I thought like we could do a copy there. I actually have an idea. Hold on. There we select all this. There. Because it was just so glued together, it didn't do it. Okay, good. So that means there we can do it this way. There we are. Very good. Okay. Now the only thing what's left is we need to redraw here our lines. Be careful that you do not change things. There. Okay. And if we want, we could also say you and you be symmetrical to there, and then very quickly re-establish the symmetry between the top and the bottom and the left and the right, and then everything, if we adjust it 1/4, will be adjusted to the other parts too. Cool. Okay. Very nice. So now we have this part here. This line we will now delete. We don't need it anymore. This was just only a helper at the beginning. And when I extrude this up, let's take a look how this feels with the rest. So there is our other part, but that's not really what we want. From here we see this is wrong because we need to create another sketch. And then we will calculate the volume of this object with another revolve, and then we get exactly that frame we are looking at. So there we are. If you zoom in here on the side, you see there is actually a sketch that is much bigger than actually the object. You see it extends, and that's how big this piece actually needs to be. So let's draw this one line here. Then I will draw one line there, and I will hide these images. check this out. I will draw a horizontal and a horizontal line. They're connected. Horizontal, vertical, vertical. And now we go to the spline. Control spline is good. So we draw, tab, go down, release. Start drawing, tab, go down and release. And what you can do is when you select the line and the spline, we can make them tangent. Now at this point, I can only move left and right. I cannot move it up or down anymore. You see here, I can still do this. And here, I will lock this again. And you see how this spline point now will be pushed down. Very good. So that's one very easy way to create a spline that at the end point becomes horizontal. Okay, let's take a look at what we have. We are very close. Very good. So this I will unlock. I would like to take a look at my frame here. So yeah, we are exactly half a millimeter always below. That's good. So there will be a nice little offset. Also there again, you can see that this sketch is a little bit bigger than it actually grows into that object. That's on purpose. Here's also our other sketch. So now we can go revolve, select this. There we are. Very good. Okay. So frame, body, there we are. And there you see how they perfectly intersect. And that is, yeah, as I said, on purpose that way. If this is maybe a tick too big, we can via direct modeling continue the flow, which is really nice, and extend it. And now we will go and say, so this one and this one, if I go to more, I would like to be intersected. Oh, it's just more intersect, and then you select the second object. There we are. You see, that's the way how you create this object, simply by calculating the volume of two objects together. Let's take a look. And you start seeing how step by step we are getting closer to build everything. Very good. Okay, let's hide those. This is actually our top. I would like to go to the front, show this image again, because I need to see where this hole is. So I will make a circle, 0.5, so no, this is not enough, 0.7, very good. We can then position it, there we are. And this I will extrude really far, -30, and go to here and then say 60, so 30 the other direction. Very good. This can be nice and long because it just needs to shoot through. When I select this, go to more, go to a mirror, then I can select this line. There we are. There's the other one. You see, if I hide these two, my sketches are brutally simple. That is really done on purpose. I only sketch really what I need. I can sketch more, but that makes actually the sketches too complex. In this front view, for example, you see I have the the frame and the inside, they're connected, okay, but they're on one side, and then the hook part or the horn on the other side. So I can manipulate each one very easily without by accident changing the another element of the sketch. Okay, good. And by keeping the sketches this simple, you just make yourself life a lot easier. Now this one I would like to be having the volume of these two horns removed. Very good. And also because I set everything up and work with the grid, like even with the mirroring of these two cylinders, as you can see, I work very loosely with the dimensions in sketches because I do a lot with the grid by moving it accordingly. It's a very powerful tool. So this is all now set. The next element is our crown. There it is. There it is. So we go to the right view. Let's zoom in. Very good. And here I will call this actually frame 2 for the moment, so I know which one is which. There it is. Okay. Yeah. So I hide this, go back to there, and I will draw myself a line, another line, a line down, and an arc. Connect this, then this will be horizontal, vertical, horizontal, and here I will draw a line down, make this line vertical, this line and that arc be tangent, and now you see that this arc terminates perfectly perpendicular to this line, so when we revolve the filling to the other side, it is exactly where it needs to be. Very good. Okay, so let's go back to the view. Now this gives us the ability to massage everything a little bit more. Can bring this object up. I'm working with the image, so maybe in this case now I will for a moment turn this on and drag this one over. Very good. There we are. And where's the frame? There's the frame, so this has to go in even more. These two can go over. So you see now this point is correct, so I lock it. I'll select this line here and just adjust with this movement that arc. Very good. Cool. Okay. Now we can select the fill. As always, go to Revolve. Here's my axis. There we are. How does this fit in? It actually fits in pretty good. Nice and even. Nearly. So I just want to go to here one more time. I will turn off frame 2. And here I will draw a line. Because with this line I just want to see where's actually here my midpoint. And there you can see that this line is a tick too low. There it should be. Should go to there. Okay. So now this line is centered as an axis. Also, what's the distance here? So 2.4. Let's say we want this to be 2.5. Check this out. So I will lock the axis. Then I will lock the starting point. You see the starting point lines up with this sharp corner. I want this to be vertical. Now I can go ahead and say 0.25. And it doesn't move it on. Oh yeah, this point was locked. My fault. Okay. Don't lock. .25. Oh. 0.25. There. Nice and clean. Very good. I could also draw myself a line here, and then from there to there, what's the distance? 4.3, which means this here I might have to unlock. I can keep that and here, for example, that's fine, that's what I want, or 114. Then this one here I lock, and now I could give me a distance between this point and this point being 4. See, it moved it over, or 4.25. Very good. You see, the sketch engine is actually really amazing how you can use it. You can either via dragging adjust it, or you create helper geometry lock points to limit movements, and then via dimensions we adjust the sketch. Pretty good. Okay. So if I take a look at this, want to modify this more, so this will be 4.5, and this may be 10. Okay, 120, 125. Very good. That looks nice. Okay, very good. So when we hide this, go to rotate, select the fill, more, revolve along this. There we are. There is our crown. And this is pretty close to most of what we need as a starting block. That's all good. Now we can actually at this point go ahead and start thinking about all the extra details. Fillets, edge roundings. The crown also needs to have some grooves, so it's easier to hold and rotate. So let's take a look at how we do all that. Okay. We will call this crown. There we are. And then you. We will hold our finger and drag it in there. There we are. And then I call this raw. Simply, this will be my backup. All my sketches here, I call this crown, and I will hide them. And everything in here, I would like to make a copy. I move this up 10 back, make myself here a new object, and call this maybe version 1. Use logical words. Here, all these copies I use. Select with a finger, hold and drag, and then I go over the arrow, move back, move it into that folder, hide the raw one. Very good. So now I can work on this design. I can mess it up. Not a big deal, because I can always go back and make myself a new copy. So we will round this to 2. That is nice. Very good. This we will chamfer 0.1, so it's easy to push a pin through. This was 2. There we have 2 in addition. So then we do the same chamfering here. Now the next step would be these inner corners, I can start rounding. One is good. Be careful with the values, because when we start adding another fillet over this edge, 1 is way too big, but 0.25, for example, is good. Here, these two, 0.25, just be consistent. And, oh, sorry. Also here, 0.25. Very good. And with all this rounded, we can then go ahead and round the bottom part with a 0.1. What is this? This is actually a 0.25, which means when we do this a 0.25, we get this type of a corner. That's not necessarily what I like, but when we make this 0.2, we're getting close to it there. So you see that here this fillet shrinks, so which means this can only be smaller than this, while here this fillet actually grew. So there it doesn't really matter. It can be the same or it can even be bigger, just as a small filleting strategy. And this was actually more effective to do this filleting first before now I select this and remove the volume from there, which is the next step, which I'm going to do. But before I do this, I will double tap this, make myself a copy, move this to here, select this face, and then say 2.25, 2.45. So we grow this, and then I will move this back in to there. Very good. Select this, more, and subtract. This is our object we want to remove. Keep original, we don't need. And there you see we created an opening for the crown to sit in, plus also having a small groove for it. If I select this opening, you see I can still go back and say this should be 2.3. And do the same here, 2.3. These should be 2.25. 2.25. So the geometry, even after the sketches are done, can be generated. Looks like my sketch was a tiny bit unclean, so I just perfected everything here. Very good. Nice. Okay, few more roundings there and there. Very good. Our battery should not scratch. There we are. Very good. And then this one and this one I would like to join together. This should be one object now. Very good. Let's go to back, turn this on, and go to inside, turn this off. There you can see that. Pretty cool. Good. So, last step, detailing the crown. We'd like to have few elements on it. I can make a sketch on here with a circle and then push it through, or what I can do instead is I go back to my crown sketch, go here to the side, there we are. So first, my crown needs to have this corner here rounded. very good. So I roughly know where that is, and now I will just lock this. Just want to make sure these things don't change. I draw a line and draw an arc. This and this should be tangent as always. This dot I can glue onto that line and then make this dot glued onto that line. This makes sure that actually now this arc is perpendicular to the line. Okay, very good. I would like to specify the distance here, 0.3. There we are. This grows to there. What's the distance here? 0.5. Very good. This is horizontal. Whoa, what happened there? Let's do this one more time. Interesting. Okay. So this is set horizontal. Yeah. Okay. Good. You and you. Tangent. There. 0.5. There we are now. Okay. Good. So this new fill here, I would like to revolve around the outer edge. That's the axis. Okay. Let's do a quick verification how this will look. So U minus this one. Okay, well, that looks good. Now I need more of those. That's very easy to do. I double tap the object. You see I have my sketch still turned on. I move the 3D widget to the revolve axis, turn on copy, and go 180. Now, double tap all those, copy. The widget is actually positioned now right at the center. I go 90 degrees. Okay, there, copy, and now we go 45 degrees. There we are. So you see the radial array can be done very quickly. It doesn't take much time. A little tip is I will make a folder, put those into it. You also saw I selected them and then I clicked the plus icon on the folder and all those elements were put into that folder. Now I can call this crown Boolean. Okay, very good. There's my crown. Double tap the object, more, subtract, and now I simply click on the crown Boolean folder. It selects all those, keep original, done. There we are. Pretty cool. In need of change, we can always go and adjust everything afterwards. I think we can even select this. Go with the move command. Yeah, you see, this is just ridiculously awesome. No, this is a little bit sharp. This is not very comfortable, so we will round all these corners too. There we are. 0.1. Very good. That's nice. And show the other objects. Hide our crown sketch. Go to top view. And voila, there we are. We modeled ourselves a nice looking watch.